Hey Apple, I got nothing. Let's ramble.
Hold up, face go wild when I pull up. They all on me like it wants.
Hey, what's up guys? It's great to see you all again, and if you're new here, I'm Patrick and this is where I ramble about tech and other stuff. So the Apple event just finished and maybe you watched it or maybe you came here because you didn't feel like watching the whole thing. That's cool too. I gotta be honest with you guys, after a huge disappointment that was WWDC, where we were basically told that our 16GB $2,000 iPad Pro is basically a piece of overpriced overkill tech because the software is not there yet, I was entirely ready to rip Apple a new one after yet another series of disappointments in the iPhone 13 lineup. But guess what? They are freaking awesome. And I will tell you why in just a minute. But let's just quickly recap what Uncle Tim brought us today. We have Apple TV Plus, and it looks like we're getting some awesome new TV shows with all-star casts. There are so many good streaming services out there right now. I guess original content is really where it's at right now. It's how these services differentiate themselves from one another. And obviously, creating original content is incredibly expensive, but we know that Apple's pockets are deep, they're very deep, so I'll be curious to see where Apple takes Apple TV Plus and where it's going to position itself in the next years compared to the other services like Prime Video, Disney Plus, and of course Netflix. More interestingly perhaps is the new iPad. It will have a new A13 Bionic chip, making it 20% faster than the A12 and 6 times faster than the best-selling Android tablet. Now, I don't know whether that's impressive because I'm not really sure what the best-selling Android tablet is, but let's leave that for now. The new iPad will also have a more powerful neural engine, making machine learning much faster. Better cameras front and back, and a much better selfie camera combined with Center Stage, which Apple brought to their lower-end iPad, I think will be a real winner. This entry-level iPad is the device of choice for many parents to give to their kids to use for school. And as we know, online learning has become a huge thing since the pandemic. So a much improved online learning experience could make this basic iPad even more popular. For some inexplicable reason, the iPad still has a 64 gigs base model. It starts at $329 and it's already available for purchase as we speak. iPadOS 15 is looking to be a pretty big change. I won't be going into too much detail right now because I'll be doing a full video just on the new iPadOS, so keep an eye out for that if you're interested. Now, the iPad mini. If I'm being totally honest, I always found the iPad mini an awkward little device, especially when you use a large iPhone like a Pro Max. I didn't really see a place for it. But when we were doing our pre-event live stream earlier today on my buddy Alex's channel, which by the way is still up if you want to go check it out, someone rightly pointed out that the Mini has a place in certain professions like doctors, nurses, engineers, and so on. And that makes a ton of sense. And this iPad Mini, according to Apple, is the biggest upgrade ever. It's selling in purple, pink, starlight, and space gray, and it comes in at 8.3 inches with a liquid retina display. It has Touch ID on the power button, which I personally think is awesome, and I wish the iPhone still had it too. It has 40% better CPU and an 80% better GPU and a new neural engine that provides 2 times faster machine learning. And it's got USB-C. So now we have the Air, the Pro, and the Mini with USB-C. Why not the iPhone? Ugh. Anyway, better cameras front and back, better speakers, and it supports the 2nd gen Apple Pencil with magnetic connection, which I'm sure will make this device even more interesting to the professions we just talked about. Very exciting. We've seen the Apple Watch 7 presented, and unlike what we all expected, the watch does not have the boxy design of the iPhone. In fact, it has become even more rounded and a little bit softer, so quite the opposite of the leaks we have been covering over the past couple of weeks, but there you have it. watchOS looks like it's become much better at sports tracking, and we saw some very impressive automatic workout tracking presented during the event. It does have a bigger screen because of the 40% smaller bezels, and it is in fact a tiny bit larger, but the thing we were all afraid of, that the watch bands wouldn't fit anymore, didn't happen. You can still use your old watch bands, which I'm sure is a relief for a lot of people who have acquired quite an impressive collection. Apple boasted about the new Apple Watch having the same amazing 18-hour battery life, but let's be honest, there's nothing amazing about that. Other brands have several days of battery life, and I really hope that Apple will catch up at some point. Apple Fitness Plus got a lot of attention, and it does seem like Apple is moving into competitors' territory there by incorporating things like guided meditation, much like we see on popular apps like Headspace. But let's talk about what we really came here for. the iPhone 13. Yo, what? Sponsor time, dude. Fine, go on then. Sorry to interrupt this ramblings, it's time to thank this video's sponsor, Casetify, who did provide this dummy, which I also slipped into one of my previous iPhone 13 videos, and who are also known to create some of the best third-party Apple accessories, like iPhone cases. And of course, they've also created some amazing cases for the iPhone 13, and by the time you're watching this video, their newest iPhone 13 models should be on their website. You can choose from their seemingly endless print options. I don't think I've ever seen a case manufacturer that offers as many options as Casetify, or you can go in and customize your own case. Their SheetTech 2.0 technology not only offers drop protection of up to 9.8 feet, their impact and ultra impact cases are made of 65% recycled plant-based materials, and all of their cases are shipped to you in 100% recycled packaging, made with recycled paper and non-toxic soy ink. The cases are also 100% BPA free and 100% non-toxic and non-hazardous. And these cases have an antimicrobial coating called Defensify that kills 99% of all germs by preventing the bacteria from sticking to the surface, which I'm sure we can all agree in current times is an essential feature to have. So guys, if you're getting an iPhone 13, go and grab yourself a Casetify case to protect your new purchase. Go to casetify.com/PatrickRambles and save 15% off your order. Right, back to that guy. Guys, the iPhone 13, it did not disappoint. The design is as expected, largely unchanged, and that's normal. I mean, it's a popular design and there's no reason for Apple to change it already. Unfortunately, it still uses ceramic shield, which might be more drop resistant, but it's an absolute scratch fest. I don't know how often you drop your phone, but I scratch mine way more often than I drop it. Anyway, it is what it is. I guess I will have to just say hello to Mr. Screen Protector a little bit longer. Also, as expected, is the smaller notch. And great news, a bigger battery because of redesigned innards. And according to Apple's keynote, it is the best battery on an iPhone ever, which means better than the iPhone 11, which was pretty awesome. So that is very exciting. 28% brighter screens, it can hold peak brightness for much longer because power efficiency, and it has the Super Retina XDR display. The all-new A15 Bionic chip features 50% faster CPU and 30% faster GPU. In fact, Apple claims that this is the fastest CPU in any smartphone ever. And the 16-core neural engine makes for super fast, much more powerful machine learning. We also expected the two cameras to be placed diagonally on the 13 and the Mini, and they are. And both cameras are improved. The biggest improvement for sure is that sensor shift is now on the 13 and the Mini and is no longer just on the Pro models. Night mode looks amazing on paper, so let's see. The battery life is improved by an hour and a half on the Mini and 2 hours on the regular 13 for most users. I'm not sure what that means, but for me that means I will probably be stepping away from my beloved Mini and going back to bigger phones. It was fine when we were largely staying at home, but now that we all start moving and traveling again, that battery is just not gonna cut it. The prices stayed the same, which is great. The Mini starts at $699 and the 13 at $799. So for us that thought there was gonna be a price hike because of chip shortages, this is really reassuring news. And they finally ditched that 64 gigs model. Because let's be honest, that's just not enough anymore. Apple calls the new Pro models the most pro iPhone ever made, and judging by their presentation, I actually think that might be right. Of course, both phones are getting the A15 Bionic chip, and the 5-core GPU brings the fastest graphics in any smartphone. And guys, we finally got what we've been waiting for so long, 120 Hz refresh rate. And it's adaptive, which means that the phone will determine the appropriate refresh rate for each application, which will be a tremendous battery saver. But the biggest improvement is no doubt the camera and the video capabilities in particular. Better low light performance, macro photography so you can get insanely close to your subject and capture all that scrumptious detail. But the biggest surprise for me, and a welcome one at that, has been cinematic mode. When the rumor mill was churning and we were talking about video portrait mode, I was super skeptical, to say the very least. Portrait mode for photos isn't very good on the iPhone, so I could not see how that would be any better in video. Other brands have tried it and it looked ridiculous. Thankfully, Apple didn't try it, but they did bring us something far more impressive, which is cinematic mode. It basically lets you film in layers, which makes it possible for us to choose focus after the video is recorded. So let's say you film a scene and it focuses on one subject, but you want to focus on another subject. All you have to do is tap and it will change focus as you wish. Now, as a camera and video nerd, that to me is huge. And the rumors were true. Apple did bring ProRes to the iPhone, which means we can edit that amazing footage much easier in Final Cut Pro. I know that probably doesn't mean a whole lot to the average iPhone user, but for the content creators, that is a big deal. Oh, and the prices for the Pro model stayed the same as well, $999 and $1099 respectively. Guys, I will follow this video up in much more detail, but I just wanted to get this out there for you, share the great news. I can't wait to review these phones to see if in real life they're actually as good as they are on paper. So hit that subscribe button and be sure to nerd out with me. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next one.